That was delicious.
Yeah. That was a treat.
That was everything I wanted it to be, and I don't know if it intended to be as good as I thought I found it. But
no, I think it. Yeah.
That was the framework that I kept thinking was that was a safe reboot.
Yeah.
By the book reboot.
Yep.
But with just an injection of heart.
Yep.
And that's Bumblebee. Title card.
Show over. We're done. That's it. We can go home. Podcast over.
We're done.
Let's get the show on the road.
Let's get this show on the road. So we just saw Bumblebee, the reboot. Did they classify this as a reboot? I did a little bit of research, and I couldn't see if they outright said.
I have not done research since it first got announced when they first did the teaser trailer, way back in when.
Yeah.
I think it's a reboot, though.
I would say so. It is functionally a reboot,
Yeah.
so I can't imagine
It
why
doesn't
they wouldn't want to
touch
be
the
there.
other series at all.
Yep, and it is so much better for it.
Yeah.
I was extremely skeptical of this movie.
I was not.
I think I mirror the fears of a lot of people who are just done with Transformers in general. I have no nostalgia for the original shows or toys.
I mean, I don't either.
I'm totally anti Michael Bay in terms of those movies are just big and dumb, but they're not. They don't have any heart to them whatsoever. They're just big and dumb for no reason. This reframed everything, and I'm so glad to be wrong.
Yeah, so this one being just produced by Michael Bay because he's got the rights and all that jazz. So it's like, hey, here you go. I'm going to give you some money, but now you do something with it. And I was saying from even the trailers that this seemed like it was kind of a return to form of what Transformers should be. Smaller, a lot more targeted at a younger demographic.
Yes.
Yes. Because that's what Transformers always has been. It's been marketing for its merchandising, basically.
And I know very little about the Transformers, but what I do understand about it is that the original was framed as kids experiencing these Transformers coming down to their world. So, in that sense, this is a perfect return to form, like you said. Let's go through what is this movie, Michael? So what is it? And we know it's a reboot, but functionally, what is this? What kind of movie do we just see?
So this is a wonderful little action movie. It's kind of reminiscent of your Big Hero 6's.
A little coming of age story.
Your Iron Giant. It's a coming of age with.
Oh, I got big Iron Giant vibes.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Giant is, I think, what a lot of people said this was, even from the trailers. They're like, it's kind of Iron Giant-y.
Yeah.
And it was always going to be.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how the story is. But in the best possible ways. There's a lot of heart, a lot of charm around your lovely robot friend. Very endearing. And and you just get a strong lead actor or actress, in this case, Hailee Steinfeld. And you get a relatively strong antagonist character, in this case, John Cena.
Well, I might fight you a little bit on that. He was a character. He was definitely a character.
He was exactly what this movie needed. I'm going to argue about that.
We're going to get into that. But yes, I would agree. It is a return to form with a very, small little story about a girl trying to find her way in the world, trying to rekindle her relationship with her family, which we'll get into as why, and meets a kind-hearted robot that has his own story, that they find a little family together and ultimately become better for it. So, tried and true, and, a lot of movies I would ding for phoning in as much as it did, but it works, and you hit it on the head. Any parts that I was about to say that I feel like I would ding another movie for is anchored by just a wonderful performance.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
She is delightful in this.
Hailee Steinfeld is fantastic.
She is delightful in this, even with some bad dialogue at some points.
Yeah, of course.
She just hammers it home. And I'm going to take off my metaphorical critic hat and put on my old, aged, grizzled animation hat. Loved the animation for Bumblebee.
Yeah.
They did a lot of little character with him and his emotions and how he was kind of, saying a lot without him being able to say anything, really.
Because obviously, he doesn't have a voice. That's kind of the...
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I have to say, I did not like how this movie started. I was really skeptical at first. It started with introducing John Cena's character, which I thought was a dangerous gamble, because he only needed to be the gruff military guy here.
Yep.
And but I think they wanted to give him a reason to hate.
Yeah, to hate Bumblebee.
Right, and that's fine. And I was having like PTSD because I could see them in a boardroom with Bumblebee, the Bumblebee script being like, well, all right, we have to reboot Transformers. What do we know about Bumblebee? He doesn't have a voice. Okay, we have to give a reason for that. And you don't. It's kind of Star Wars prequels thing of like, we don't need an explanation for every little thing.
Yeah.
And of course, they have to have that dramatic, take your voice away, as if, because that would be out of place if you didn't know that. That'd be completely unintentional.
Kind of going off what you started dipping into, because we love this movie so much, we're going to start with the bad.
Yes.
Because there's
a lot of good.
There's a lot of good.
And not a lot of bad.
And we're going to get to the good later. We're going to start with the bad. So what you said, yes, they did feel the need to kind of go like, oh yeah, remember that thing from the originals? Like, we are rebooting it, but we're still, he doesn't have a voice, here's why. And it starts on Cybertron, of all things.
Yes.
It starts with a giant battle to kind of contextualize you in the Autobots versus Decepticons war that's going on.
And that was kind of the hook, I think, for the people who had given up on the Transformers series, the hardcore fans of like, hey, you get to see Cybertron. You get to see Cybertron, which is, hey, you don't spend a lot of time out there. No. I don't think they implied in the trailers that you were going to.
No.
But what you get is enough to kind of be like, okay, we're telling a different kind of story.
I know more. Yeah. But it definitely starts in the way that it needs to for this kind of movie, with a thinly veiled excuse to put all the pieces in place.
Yep.
And give everyone motivation.
Mix one part. Dramatic, inciting incident of Bumblebee's got to go to Earth. Mix with two parts. John Cena needs a ham-fisted reason to hate Bumblebee.
Yep.
And
Steinfeld really wants a car because
she's 18. She's got to get a
turning
car.
18 tomorrow.
She's got to get a car, and she's so good at them. She likes to fix them up.
She likes to fix them up because her father passed away, and her father loved fixing cars with her.
And that's their thing.
That's her thing.
And again, I would ding a lot of movies for that kind of paint by numbers trope, but she really hammers it home that you really believe that she generally misses her dad. They go back to it enough times. But yes, the initial part felt a little paint by numbers.
It just did a loosely veiled story over just to get you in place, so you can see a girl with Transformer and then Transformers fighting. Transformers fighting, and that's all it needed.
The Transformers fighting.
Yeah,
because they fight multiple times.
That's true.
You got it.
Yeah, and that's really all. Yeah, that's all it needed. It just needed to get you in there and give you a little bit, and then really just ride on the charm of Bumblebee and Hailee Steinfeld and their interactions.
Yep, it worked just fine. I think it just started a little clunkier for me. And I don't want to harp on that one scene because it does bleed into the next one. And I said it while we were watching the movie. Yep. They had that shot where Hailee Steinfeld? That shot with the box, all her trophies.
Yep.
And Mom has to say, oh no, you're throwing away your diving trophies.
Yep. Yeah.
As if that will never be relevant again.
Yep.
And I was having...
Chekhov's gun.
Oh my God. And I was having just... Oh no. And I literally said if she doesn't dive somehow in some emotional scene later, then you can have my next paycheck.
Yeah. And we were getting to the end. And
I was waiting for it.
They might not do it.
They might not do it. And
they did it. So.
But again, it's almost as if they're like, we know we're phoning in a lot of it, story-wise. We're using a lot of tried and true things. Let's just get them out of the way. That way we can really hammer home.
But at the same time, they didn't just exposition you all there.
No, they didn't.
Held off a little bit to explain why she doesn't like diving anymore.
Correct. They don't make it a one-off thing. It's not just a really cheap way to imply, so that way you can't say, wait, why did she a good diver all of a sudden? He said that. Yeah. So they do enough to frame it. I agree.
With her father, too, with the VHS tape.
Yep, they end up expanding on it, but at that point in the progression, it's like, this could go bad.
We're kind of going back because we're just going too... We keep rationalizing all the bad things.
Because after this, it's all golden.
No, the one other thing that I would say, it kind of, the pitfall it falls into that I didn't much care for, because I never much care for it, is look, we're in the 80s. Haha. That every movie
glad you brought it up.
Happens in the past has to do is look at all of this clunky technology. Look at these.
Look, it's Pong.
Yeah, look, it's Pong.
Look, it's Tab Soda.
Yeah.
You know that.
Hey, do you remember all these bands that were new? It's just came out.
But it kind of, the style of those 80s coming of age movies was the better way of framing it. Is because it was an old kind of 80s way of telling a story that they do in this as well. So that kind of soften the blow, but yes, it gets very overt at times. I think, I'm going to defend them a little bit, I think it's because this takes place entirely on the West Coast, which is generally what you don't think about as super 80s-ified. So I think the visual appeal was not quite overt.
Yeah. So
they wanted to keep you reminded, because they can do like neon and a discotheque and all that stuff, and the leggings, and so I think they needed to do to remind you.
Why did this movie need to be set in the 80s as opposed to being modern day?
Because, Michael, that's when the Transformers originally came out.
But why? That's
all I got.
Else? Okay. The other reason, so they can do a modern day franchise. Because this is the prequel basically for the modern day franchise that they're gonna set up.
Yeah, you're right.
She had to say goodbye at the end. Spoiler, obviously. But so she had to say goodbye at the end. She's like, no, you have people that need you, and I have people that need me.
Right.
So you need to go and do your own thing. So he's gonna do it.
It's ultimately inconsequential. They can go anywhere they want from this now.
That said, those are about our biggest complaints with the movie. The movie as a whole, honestly, fantastic.
Yeah.
I walked out of the theater and I was like, you know what? That was a treat. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I laughed a lot in it. In part because John Cena. I mean, it was.
I'm gonna call him Schlock Cena from now on.
Do not run. She ran.
Okay, this is the question.
Yep.
Was this?
Let's be tongue in cheek.
Let's frame this. So John Cena's character is.
He acts like a WWE star.
He acts like a WWE star and acts like a gruff military stereotype from an 80s movie.
Yeah.
He does like overly like military sayings like we're gonna get him and we're gonna rip him
when he's
apart.
Approached at his desk about more robots landing, he loads a pistol, cocks it, and then says, let's go
get him. And then at the end, after, because we have to have the scene where John Cena Bumblebee has to save John Cena, so that way he realizes that Transformers are not
some
bad.
Transformers are good, some are bad.
And then when they go their separate ways,
he salutes in the best. Oh man.
So I don't know if it was tongue-in-cheek, if that was intentional.
I'm gonna say it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It worked so well in a tongue-in-cheek way.
Yep.
I honestly,
don't care.
I think John Cena in this role was a perfect casting for what this movie needed.
Yep.
As a little every time he did something on screen, I couldn't help but laugh and smile.
And in the earlier time, again in that first scene though, I was kind of like in the reeds, because I was like, is John Cena just a bad actor? Like he's really, this is just dry. Like
he's not a great actor.
But then they kind of expanded on it a little bit more. Yeah. Like, this is wonderful. It kept the levity nice where it needed to be. It didn't get super serious.
Yep.
So let's be honest, the actual villains of the movie, which are just two Decepticons, I couldn't even tell you their names.
No. My favorite part was how on Cybertron they were still jets somehow.
There's their versions of jets.
Yeah, they've not seen a human Air Force jet before.
Why would they know that that's that?
Yeah, also the fact that they land and immediately speak English is no pretense. The movie has no pretense for anything aside from what it needs to be, which is these aliens land and they can immediately interact with humans because they need to.
It looks at you and says, these are the questions you don't have to ask because we're not that serious.
Yep.
We're not asking you to ask those questions. We're not pretending to be a super serious movie.
Which is exactly why I don't think John Cena needed to be super serious or super anything else.
And it worked out.
It was so enjoyable.
His schlockiness was just delightful.
It perfectly balanced the emotional weight of the film.
Yes.
Just having a very cheesy, corny, military man. And honestly, this movie was cheesy. It was corny, but in the best possible, heartwarming 80s way.
I thought, too, the big thing that the Transformers get dinged for is just not just big, dumb action flicks and big, dumb action scenes. Big, dumb action scenes you can't follow.
Yeah.
That become just noise and just CG all over the place. Horrible editing.
Yeah.
I will point out a noticeable effort to make, when they do fight, to make it smaller scale, as small scale as Transformers punching other Transformers can be.
Yeah.
But a lot of, other than the first scene when he lands on Earth.
Cybertron,
Yeah.
Cybertron and that.
Yep. It is usually one-on-one and very bare knuckle fights. A lot of wrestling moves involved.
Yeah, that was the best part. It was during the final scene when they were doing actual what appeared to be actual wrestling moves.
Yep.
And,
all right.
They had to have asked John Cena about this stuff.
Hey,
this is fantastic.
We need stuff to do. That's not just punch, which is an amazing end to the first fight with the blue Decepticon with the chain. That was pretty cool.
That was probably the coolest fight moment.
Because that was the question I've always had is like, these are very precise transformations. If you throw like a wrench in there, that's got to throw everything off.
Yes, they do.
Boy, they do.
They answer that question. I love the way they interrupted him though. It's like, do you think these chains could? And then just he's dead. He's
exactly. Like, yes, I do. I do think that.
That was fantastic. I'm also gonna mention. I'm gonna bring in something we haven't talked about yet. The friend who is
so glad you were gonna go there.
And my favorite interest. Yep, love interest. But I'm gonna start at the end of the story.
Love interest.
They smack that away.
Yeah.
He goes to
literally.
He goes to hold her hand at the end of the film.
Yep.
And she goes, "Whoa, no, we're not there yet." And so they did the classic example of the love interest throughout, but instead of doing the classic like we fell in love in 2 days because of the movie, they go, no, what? We just met like 2 days ago.
I met you 2 days ago. I've worked with you for a little bit, but I literally just found out your name.
Yeah, and it's funny because of course, like it's believable that the guy would try and advance things a little faster because he's like, he had a crush on her for a while and they kind of built that up early. So he's like, I kind of want to hold your hand now. She's like, nope. And I think that's evidence of the fact that the script was written by a woman, I believe. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the credits. I wish I knew her name. The credits actually, they scrolled really fast. They were really short credits, but I think it's because they scrolled fast, so I didn't get to read a lot of them. But I'm 90% sure the script was written by a woman, and you get those little touches, the wonderful transformation that gets from, as opposed to the Michael Bay movies.
You know that...
It's almost like they intentionally rejected the Michael Bay. Like,
the machismo.
Get out of here. Yeah.
Like super misogynistic.
I loved it. I really did love it.
I really enjoyed it.
It's a movie. Like, classic example of would you buy this to own it? And I know you don't buy movies too often.
I don't buy movies, but metaphorically.
Metaphorically, literally for me.
Would I invest any more money in this, is what you're saying?
Yes. Would you go to see it again?
Yes. I would not go see it again purely based on the fact that I want to see it again, but I would want to have someone else experience this.
Would I buy this movie?
Yes.
I would, because I like to buy movies just to have them on my shelf. I honestly very rarely go back and rewatch movies.
Are you excited for another Transformers movie now? Does this redeem it?
I'd say my curiosity has been piqued.
Yes.
If they give control to other directors and kind of give other writers and stuff and give them a little bit more control, kind of like Star Wars tried doing and other Marvel movies do, kind of making an actual franchise of it, cinematic universe of it. I don't think it needs to be a cinematic universe. I don't think it needs to go that crazy.
God, let's not say those two words.
Yeah, but the joy of having other people in control of Transformers and doing Transformers-y things with the plot, there's a car there, it does excite me. I think it'll depend, though, a lot on the writing, on the directing, and the actors, as we've already mentioned.
Yes.
This one lives and breathes by the performances that it had in the film with John Cena and with Hailee Steinfeld. So I really think...
And it seems too easy to just be like, we'll have another one of those, please.
Yeah.
Pick those two actors and have them do the same things. That's really hard.
Yep. So it will definitely depend on what actors they get for the future movies. But I'm going to go ahead and say that, I will probably see a second one if it's, shows similar promise.
Thanks for watching our review of Bumblebee.
That's it.
That might end up being just it.